Welcome back to SharePoint Charts Complete Training. In this session, we're going to learn about swim lanes. What are swim lanes? You may not have ever done this before or used it. It's a little bit more of an uncommon type of a chart. All this is a variation of a flowchart. What differentiates swim lanes from a flowchart is that the processes are divided into lanes. So we're going to look at an example right when we start out, and then we're going to jump in and set up our own swim lanes chart. Let's go. So you want to make sure you get to your swim lanes section in the training content, and right away you can see an example. As I described, this is a flow chart and we've got lanes. So what you can see in the picture is that we have lanes for customer. That describes customer activities. Then we have customer service. Those are things that our customer service team would do. Then the items for the sales, where they're involved, the implementation group, and management. So these are different groups within a company. This concept could be applied in a lot of different ways, but that is what we're going to do in our training today. If you want to read up more about swim lanes and the concept of using them, there's a link to that in the training content. And this is going to use the same list template that we already have set up for flowcharts training. If you have not yet done that training, be sure to do that first. So stop this video and go back and do that training session. That is a prerequisite for what we're doing today. That does cover the list setup part of it. So once you get in there, you want to open the swim lanes template, have that ready, and then we can go over to our SharePoint Charts training site where we've been creating all of our practice charts. And as I mentioned, this is going to be using the same list that we used for flowcharts. So I'm going to navigate directly to my flowchart. I'll click on my tile, and I'm going to start out by creating views. So I already have flowchart and flowchart edit, so let's go ahead and make some views related to that. So I'll do save view as swim lanes, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab a link to that. So I will edit current view. Just hit OK. I'm just doing that to get the friendly URL. And I'm going to go ahead and set up a tile link from my home page. Okay, so I want that to be called swim lanes. And let's find a nice looking tile for that. So I'll just come to my tiles options, and they're in columns, so that would be a good selection. Here, I'll do this one. Okay, we have a good looking icon, and then I'm just going to click on my link and drag it down to the end. So this is my most recent chart, and republish. Okay, now we've got that. There's my swim lanes view. I need a swim lanes edit too. If you'll recall from the flowcharts training, we have both an edit view and the regular view, which users see where you won't edit. That'll be more obvious to you why we need those two views in a moment. So let me do save view as and call it swim lanes edit. Okay, and then to get things primed and ready, what I want to do is start putting in some records. So I'm going to put at least one dummy record just to get the ball rolling. What we're going to do for our training, we are actually going to reproduce this example diagram just so we have something ready to do practice work on. So I'll start by putting in a record for services inquiry. So I'm going to do new, and this chart name I'm just going to say swim lanes and services inquiry, and just save. I'm not going to make any other adjustments yet. Now for these views, I want them to just be my swim lanes chart. So I'm going to edit these views and put a filter on it. So I'm going to do a filter and do where chart name is equal to swim lanes. Do a refresh. There, now I just see that record. I need to make sure I do the same thing for both of my swim lanes views. So let me modify that and do exactly the same thing again. So I'm just, once again, going down to filter. I'm going to do where chart name is equal to swim lanes. And hit OK. All right. So now we can go ahead and apply our template. Okay, so once I come back over here, I need to know the columns up on the top. So where it says swim lane headers, I need to go ahead and fill that in. And we're going to be replicating this diagram here. So my headers are customer, customer service, sales, implementation, and management. So let me go ahead and start entering those in. Customer, customer service. Then the next is sales, implementation, and management. All right, I've got that all typed in. And for our chart title, we'll say new customer process, just like that. We need to put the number of swim lane columns. That's 5. Corresponds to our header. Sliders being kind of fidgety. And then I need to know the number of rows as well. So in my diagram that I'm going to do, I've got 3 rows. If you notice, you look at these shapes, it goes down to 3 rows. That's all that I need. So let me go ahead and set that as well. We're already set at 3. We should be good to go. We're doing our edit template first. When we apply this to our other view, we're going to uncheck that button. And I'm going to go ahead and leave the other settings as is. This is pretty self-explanatory from other training. If you want to change any of the colors, the font size, those type of things, you can make those adjustments. Most of our configuration is going to happen when we're building our diagram in SharePoint. So I'm going to copy that template, come back over, and now I can do Format Current View, Advanced Mode, and select all, paste, and save. Okay, obviously that looks plain at the moment. We're not especially concerned with that at the moment. We're going to apply all of our customizations after. And while we're at it, we might as well go ahead and apply the formatting for the regular view, which is non-edit mode, and that's simple. I just uncheck the edit box, copy the template again, and then I can go back and format current view, advanced mode, select all, and paste. Okay, and so the difference is when I hover, you notice I can't edit this. It's just for viewing, and that's what the view you'll supply for your users to look at. Okay, so let me come back to the edit view. That's the one we're working in. And what I'm going to do is start out by just making all my blocks. That seems like the easiest thing to me. And then I'm going to modify and do all my connectors and lines and that type of thing. So let's go ahead and look back at our chart. So next one's gather details. So I'm going to use the same chart name. If you remember, we had a filter on there, so we need to use the same chart name every time. So I called it swim lanes. And then gather details was our next one. Okay, this is on the first row in the second column. Save. And then I'm just going to keep making all my shapes. So next one's schedule demo. That's in the third column. There it is. Now we're going to go down to the next row. We've got customer demo. Whoops. Swim lanes, then customer demo. That's in row 2, column 3. Okay, and then the next one is customer gets proposal. Okay, customer, whoops, swim lanes, customer gets proposal. Okay, that's in row 2, column 1. Okay, and then our next one is customer assigns proposal. Okay, that's in row 3, column 1. There we go. Sales meeting with IMP is an implementation. Okay, that was in row 3, column 3. 2 more to go. Customer kickoff meeting. Okay, that's row 3, column 4. Save. And one last one. Management registers customer. Okay, and that's row 3, column 5. Now we also need to put in connectors, and the way we do that is we create records that are just used for that purpose. So I'll show you how to do that. So I need to put swim lanes for the chart name. I don't need anything for the label. And then down below, I do have the option to choose a shape, which is just simply a line. So I want a horizontal line. So I need one at row 2, column 2. Save. And then I'm going to need another one on the 3rd row, just like that. No label for these. So I'm going to need one in row 3, column 2. And this one is just, again, just go to the shape selections and you're going to find different line options. And I just need the horizontal line. Okay. So that wasn't super exciting, it's just setting me up. This part's more fun. Now I get to put in all my connectors for my process, and we can put coloring and all that kind of stuff. So what we're trying to do is reproduce this chart that we see here. That's what we're doing for our training. So let's go ahead and do our line connectors first. So the way you do that, if you click in the lower right on these, you'll pull up a window where you can modify the connectors. So I want a line connector, and then I just click out of there, and pretty self-explanatory. You'll see exactly how it works. So I select I want an arrow in, and I'm just walking my way across and making these lines go exactly where I want them to go. So just have my arrow, and then we're going down with the arrow. So I just do this lower connector, do a line, and then I need to have the arrow going in, and now I'm going back the other direction. So that's a line, and the lines need line connectors too. So I just need to put a line on the right and a line on the left, and then I'm all set there. And now I can do the arrow going into the next shape, and now one going down. Okay, and now we're going to come back to the right. So I just do the right side connector, got a line, then I do a couple lines on that next one. So I do a line on the left and a line on the right. And now I do the arrow connector going into the shape, then one more line. And then I do the arrow going into that one, and another line. And an arrow going to that one. Alright, so now we've got the whole process, but it looks very plain vanilla. So we want to do some coloring. What I like and what I recommend to you is that you make the colors correspond to the columns. It helps in a visual manner to differentiate. So the thought would be, I have these different groups. I want all my customer related actions to be in blue. Customer service, I have this in light yellow, sales in orange. You could choose whatever color scheme you want, but it's just another way to reinforce those different lanes of activities that are going on. So let's go ahead and follow that same approach and get color backgrounds set up for each of our shapes. Okay, so we're going to do blue for these. So I just go to background color, and we'll just pick, let's do aqua for example. So I just walk it right down. I'm going to do the same thing for all three. And you see there's a nice color picker, so you see exactly what it's going to look like before you make the selection. And then we did tan or light yellow for this, so we'll do background color, and there's light yellow. And then we were doing orange for sale, so go ahead and find a good orange color in our color picker. There we go, there's orange. We'll do 3 of those. And just walk down through your selections. There's orange again. And we'll do orange for this one. So click, 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 and there's orange. All right, and then what are our other ones? We did green and then purple, okay? So switch this one and make it background color. Let's make it, there you go, green, and then purple for this one. Okay, there we go. What's the next thing? These are all squares. You can use shapes to correspond to different concepts. It's really up to you, or you can. It's really according to your own taste if you want to do different shapes. So there's lots of shape options. You know, I had shown in our example diagram. I had some different ones, but there's not necessarily a right or wrong way to do that. You could also make it correspond to the category if you want. But in any case, you've got options for circle, diamond, oval, rectangle, all those kind of things. So you can kind of browse through there and pick what you like just to make it match up with the diagram we're creating. I'm going to do circles for these, and then we'll move on to the next column. So this shape's going to be another circle. We'll do a short rectangle for this one. So instead of a square, just to show you some variety, there's the rectangle. We'll leave those as squares. What else we got? We do diamond. We'll just pick that just to show you what it looks like. And then what else we got? We could do an oval. Just kind of seeing what the different options look like. So you can experiment with that. Try what you want. It's really up to you. And on your configuration, you can pick between different styling for the header and for the canvas background as well. That's all editable. So that's it. It's a new process. Takes a little bit of getting used to, but the fun part about this is you're able to modify the look and feel of these directly in the chart. And then we explicitly at the beginning control the position of these elements, but you can move them around quite easily. If you'll notice, there's little arrows in the diagram, and I can simply click on those to move those cards around. That's a good way to think about these. These are like cards. So I can just click on that. And so once you have your elements in there, if you need to reshuffle your flowchart and move things around a little bit, it's real easy to do that. You can just click in there and just use the arrows to move things around. All right, and that's it. So I hope you found that interesting. It's interesting that you can have these kind of charts directly in SharePoint. I think otherwise what people would tend to do is use other tools outside of SharePoint and then maybe just import a static image into SharePoint. But now you've got something where you can build out these process diagrams directly in your SharePoint environment and share that with users. One key part about that is we have both the edit view and also the display view. So when you're building it, you're going to use that edit mode where you can hover over, the background turns yellow, you can click in and reshuffle everything around. And then when it comes time to share that out with your audience, you have that separate view where it doesn't do that. Everything's set, it's baked, if you will, and then you can put links to that from different places in your site. So I hope you found that interesting, and when it comes time to think about a process and you're going to do a flowchart, this lets you take that to another level. Not only can you think about what the process is, but who are the teams involved, and is that something where you can define a set of teams in those swim lanes, and then now you can draw a process diagram and convey that additional concept. Hope you like that, and I hope you have your own swim lanes diagram going in your own SharePoint soon. Good luck.